Hi, this is just a very brief video that I'm going to show you on how I make my bone broth. And bone broth is absolutely delicious. In this pot, I have simply saved all of my bones from my chickens. And, here are the wing tips. And I just saved all of those things and I put them in a plastic bag and keep it in the freezer. And when I get a lot of these bones, and then I'm ready to make my bone broth. You can see. Alright, I'm ready to continue with my wonderful beef stock, my bone broth. And I'm going to take the lid off, and this is when I'm going to add, it's been an hour that this has been sitting in my filtered water, and my 2 tablespoons of vinegar to draw some of the nutrients, minerals out of the bones. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add some vegetables to this to give it a real rich flavor. And what I'm adding to this, I did this while the bones were soaking with the vinegar. And I have about 2 celery sticks. You can use the tops, whatever you have. I just didn't have any old celery. I used 2 small carrots. I don't like my broth to be too sweet, and the carrots will add sweetness to it. And then, of course, an onion. And this is where you're going to get a lot of your flavor from also. So we're going to just put that into our pot. And I'm going to do that as best as I can with one hand. I'll use my hand like this to get the rest of it. And then we're going to stir it in. And as you can see, this is going to really be flavorful. I'm sure you can imagine that. We're going to stir it together. And then the next thing we want to do is bring it up to a boil, because we're going to simmer this for 12 to 24 hours. And I usually definitely go the more time. And the bones will just get soft and, break very easily. It's going to be so flavorful. So we're going to turn our heat up. I want to definitely bring it up to a boil. And let's see what else. And then we're going to simmer. We're going to bring it up to a boil, and then we're going to simmer this mixture. And then I will get back to you. I'll probably show you. It's probably going to reduce a little bit as it's cooking. Alright, it's almost up to a boil. As you can see, there's a layer of foam on the top, and this is fine, but it's about up to a boil. Once it comes up to a boil, I'm going to turn my temperature down on my stove so that it's just at a simmer. And that's when I'm going to cook it for the 12 to 24 hours, at a simmer. I am up to a boil, and it's pretty fierce over here. So I'm going to, as you can see, I have a lot in this pot. This pot is probably a little too much liquid in here for this. And I think the next time I won't put quite as much water in here, because you don't want boilovers. So I've turned the heat down to a low, and I'll keep it at whatever I need to keep it at for it to come to a simmer. You can see all my vegetables and things in there. And then we'll check it, in about 10 hours maybe, and then we'll check it again tomorrow. It's about 12 noon right now, so I'm going to definitely be cooking this until 12 noon tomorrow. So I'll just let you know how the progress of it is, and you'll see the difference even in our bones and everything. Alright, it's been about 21 hours, and I'm just going to take the lid off, and I'm going to look in here and see what we have here. It's a real flavorful. You can look at all the beautiful color in here. And it's just, as you can see, this is just a wonderful broth. You can see how it has changed, and just the richness of this is so very nice. I'm going to let this go a little bit more. It has reduced a little bit. Remember, we were about up to here with the liquid, and now we've lost a little bit of it there. But you can see this makes the most wonderful broth. So we're going to let this go a few more hours before I strain it, cool it, strain it, and and put it in my jars that I'm going to put in the freezer. Actually, I kind of want you to see me do that. As you can see, we can just, let me just get a piece up here, and you see how it just cuts it? And that's what I'm doing here. I'm just cutting these bones. Oops. It's kind of hard to do it with one hand, but as you can see, the bones have gotten a lot softer, and so that's what I'm going to be doing now. Bye-bye. Alright, this is the final broth. I've turned the heat off. It's been about 25 hours. I added a little bit parsley the last 30 minutes to an hour, and I added just about a teaspoon and a half of salt, or maybe I guess you could add about a tablespoon. I just did a teaspoon and a half because I have a tendency of making things too salty. I always add salt. But you can see that this is just a rich color, and that's what you... Alright, I'm going to move on to my next step. As you can see, my broth has cooled down. Still this beautiful rich color that we have here. My next step is going to be to strain it. So I'm going to put it in these large measuring cups I have here with the strainer. Got 2 of them. We'll see how far that goes. So bear with me as I attempt to pour these in. Alright, so we're going to start with this one because I just want the pure liquid left, and then we'll pour some over here and get down to the bottom. See, there are lots of bones in here, and we're going to just start with this. And as you can see, we're going to have to do this a little bit to get it all out, and then I'm going to pour it in my jars. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of this. I mean, just look at a little bit how I do this. And I'm going to take a jar here. Alright, and we're going to pour this in the jar, and this is about 1 cup. So we're going to put 1 cup portions, and this is very concentrated. So, which is what I want. I want it to be very concentrated, and then I can always add water to dilute it. So I'm going to continue doing this until I get all my jars full, and then we'll put the lids on them, and then we'll stick them in the freezer. So stay tuned. Alright, this is what's left. I've got 2 pieces here. You can see the bone, you can see the marrow in there. So I've got lots of scraps that I have left over. Alright, and then I'm going to just pan. Here's my pot that I got to clean out, and this is what I'm left with. All of these jars of goodness, and I'm going to show you. Here's one. You can just kind of see in there how rich, how delicious this is going to be in any of my dishes. I use it sometimes for making gravy or cream of mushroom soup. Again, sometimes I may even drink a cup of it. And this is pretty concentrated, so I can easily dilute this, and I'll still have a lot of rich flavor. So, this is bone broth. So rich in nutrients, so good for you, so easy to make. Just save all your bones and everything, or, you know, your pieces of your chicken that you don't use, throw it in the pot and follow the instructions that I gave, and you'll be quite delighted at this. Bye-bye.